87.7. We are the workshop which was organized by the Center for Democratic Development. And we just finished the 2 day workshop for journalists on election reforms. Could they all play a critical role in this whole workshop? And I have Mr. Kofi Arhin right here with me. They've been doing monitoring of election for the past years, and I want to take a thought on this whole 2024 election. I know it's very crucial. Good afternoon. Welcome to KT.
Good afternoon, my brother.
Yeah, this year 2024 election is very crucial. And going into the election, what should we expect as an observer?
We're trying to organize, even before the election, if we can do some reforms with regards to the election itself. We have been witnessing some reforms being done some time ago by the EC together with some other stakeholders. But this time around, there are some major reforms that we want to undertake. And that is the more reason why you and I are here. We are trying to make sure that, for example, when it comes to petitions, with regards to parliamentarians, that is after an election when there's a petition, we want to see if we can change things so that parliamentary petitions don't last for so many months as it used to be. And that is why we have brought you here so that we can think and broadcast it, we can tell people about what we are doing. What basically we want to do is that whenever there's a petition in this country after elections, there's no time limit within which the petitions can last. Unlike the presidential, where we now have a clear decision as to the whole thing to be completed within 42 days. In the case of the parliamentary election, it has no limit. And we think that it's about time we had some limit placed on the time within which parliamentary petitions can be settled. So you and I are here because we want you to start talking about it. We have already started with the judiciary, trying to fashion out what ought to be done. We have submitted some proposals to the judiciary. They have also submitted theirs. We are synthesizing the two. And I think from the way it is going, we believe strongly that parliamentary petitions are not going to last even more than 4 months. And the decisions we are about to take to ensure that this thing is reduced so that we don't have undue delays. If the country will remember very well, there used to be a time when there was a petition that lasted almost 9 months, where the man who won the election stayed outside parliament, and the person who didn't win enjoyed the full term. You don't want these things to happen again. So we want the time for petitions to be reduced drastically, and that is why we are here. We are here again also to talk about some mistakes that are made when we are having some elections, and the corrections are to be made on resource management. Gone are the days when, for example, the presiding officer will make a mistake, and then it's like there's nothing done to show to the world or to show to Ghanaians that this mistake was made and this correction was made. And the correction was done in this way. We want to fashion out with the EC leading so that when somebody makes a mistake on the sheet of paper with regards to elections, we can write it down correctly, and for it to be a type or prototype of, it's like when the auditor comes to audit and then there are mistakes and then you correct, or when you write a check, you make a mistake and you sign. We want this kind of things to happen so that if the mistake is made, there is a formula for correcting them. And that formula would have to be accepted by all parties to the dispute. This is what we want done. And we are also talking about the fact that we want women to take active part in politics in this country. We want women to maybe, if we can, form about 30% of the people who go to most of these either assembly or maybe parliament or whatever. And we want the journalists like you to partner us to broadcast what we want to do. We want you to go and tell the world, to tell Ghanaians, these three prominent reforms that we are undertaking. We want you to write articles. We want you to go on radio and talk about it. We want you to spread this gospel so that when it comes out finally, Ghanaians will know that this is what we have done and it has gone down well with everybody.
Yeah, Mr. Arhin, we will do that as journalists because this training is very dear to our heart. But let me find out from you. You've been doing election monitoring for a very long time. What do you say are some of the issues on the ground which result in misunderstanding and violence on the ground?
Yeah, we have been getting these misunderstandings because a lot of us Ghanaians don't want to use the rules on the ground. Elections are conducted using rules and regulations. If, for example, there is a problem at a polling station, I've always been saying that there's no need for people to be shouting and fighting. The rules are there. Apply the right rule at the right time. Let people know, report. And if there's an infringement on a particular rule, there's a solution to it. So we need to be patient, go through the regulations, and then apply the right method of settling dispute. Honestly, nobody needs to fight at a police station when the rules are there to guide us. We need to be patient so that we don't act on flimsy excuses, we don't act on impulse. We have to get to the rules of the game and apply the rules.
Let me put you on the spot. Talking about election petitions, we know Nigeria has gone through, Ghana has also gone through, Kenya recently went through. And it appears it has never happened that the election has been overturned. Why do you think so? Even if the court finds so that there are credible grounds that the election should be overturned.
Well, if a court should rule that an election is to be overturned, I don't think it should be done otherwise. In Ghana, for example, each time that we have sent petitions to the courts, we have always stuck to the ruling of the courts. I don't think it would be advisable for us, for example, to ignore what the courts will say. If we ignore what the courts will say, then it means we're trying to disobey the courts that we set up ourselves. And that will not augur well for the peace of this country. So if we send a petition and the court rules that this is the verdict, I think we all have to obey. Maybe in other countries that you have cited, it's because the court feels that maybe they were right in the decisions they took. If it comes otherwise, then of course, maybe those who sent it there didn't have the right, presentation, or maybe they did not give their cases well. But I believe that once you take it to whether it is the Supreme Court or the High Court, and the High Court rules that this is the decision, everybody has to obey it. Everybody has to abide by it.
So, in your view, do you think it will ever happen that a petition will be sent to court and the court will have that kind of boldness to overturn the ruling?
Why not? Why not? Why not in the sense that if, for example, you take a case to court and you are not able to defend it, and the rules of court dictate, or it comes out that you didn't argue your case well and you lost, you should be pleased with it. You should be satisfied with it. If, on the other hand, the court says that, okay, you sent the petition and you have won, that should be it.
But don't you think of the cost implication to the nation?
Well, it's better to get that cost or to incur the cost than to plunge the country into war. You can spend money to resolve a conflict, because if you ignore and then you give any verdict at all which is not to the will or the wishes of the people, you will rather incur more debt, because when they are fighting, it will plunge the country into more chaos than you might have imagined.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Kofi Arhin of Kodeo. My name is Daniel Fosu. This is K2 Radio 87.7. Do well to subscribe to our channel, 877 K2 Radio on YouTube and all social media handles.